guys, Retro Reviews here again with another video review. Now I'm going back to my Master Grade Gundam kits and following with the same pattern as before. I'm going through them all in order as I built them. So this one is the next one up. It is the Force Impulse Gundam from Gundam Seed Destiny. First thing I want to point out is when I first bought this kit, I was still pretty new into the Gundam series. I had no idea how the Gundam Seed Destiny series was, or know any of the characters. I just saw this kit, thought it looked cool, picked it up, and then did my research later, which found out I don't like Seed Destiny. I like this mobile suit. This is my favorite mobile suit out of the series, but I do not like Seed or Seed Destiny all that much either. So that's a little unfortunate, but that has nothing to do with the model kit in front of us right now. As you can see, I have them separated out into their separate components. I have the core Splendor over here, and then the leg flyer, top flyer, and silhouette flyer with the Force silhouette pack attached. So go ahead and take a look at these sections individually. And we're going to start off with the core Splendor. Now, the core Splendor is very similar to the core fighter from the original Gundam series. As you can see, it is pretty tiny. Here's scale comparison. The core fighter from the Gundam 3.0, which is the same mold as the 2.0 in terms of the core fighter, so it's the same exact thing, just very, very minuscule compared, or not minuscule compared to it, but at least to other model or other parts of model kits. Yeah, this is really small, but it is still in the 1:100 scale. Take a look at some of the details here if it will focus. As you see, it's cast mostly in blue and white plastic, with the exceptions of a little bit of gray and a little bit of red, but there is a lot of painting that you have to do to get it accurate. You have to paint the blue stripes on the wings, and then I don't know how well it's showing up on my camera, but I forgot to paint a line right here, but there's supposed to be yellow and blue on the tail fins as well. And then the gray here on the nose cone is painted in as well, and poorly done, but it's there. And I also went ahead and painted silver on the canopy for the cockpit on the framework of it. It's not showing up very well on my camera, it looks like, but it might show up better when it gets when this gets posted. The cockpit does open up, reveal a pilot inside, and you do get options for this kit to make it either Lunamaria Hawk or Shin Asuka. And I did Shin Asuka on this one, regardless of what I knew from the series. It's the one that they post as like the primary one on in the instructions. So that's why I went with that one. And Shin Asuka is the main character of the series. So when I found that out later, I was like, okay, so that works. So that's it for the core Splendor. Now we're going to take a look at the top flyer. Now the top flyer, all it is just the top half of the Gundam curled up into this position, kind of like it's playing Heads Up 7-Up. If anybody remembers that from elementary school. Lining is fairly minimal. It's not showing up very well in this mode, but in robot mode, or the mobile suit mode, it does show up a lot better. This is one of the old ones that I did actually do the lining on the back of the shield too, so back when I didn't do so many of these at a time. Also, before I forget, I wanted to point out that each of the pieces of the Gundam do come with base adapters for an action base. And on the core Splendor, it just goes underneath there like that. And that's how that one attaches. The one for the top flyer is this piece, and that will just fit into the 4 pegs right there, like so. And then the other 2 for the silhouette flyer and the leg flyer, I'll get to these when I get to those parts. But yeah, for now, let's go back to looking at the top flyer. Nothing really much to say about it. It does have a hard time holding the gun, I noticed. A lot of these kits will have that problem with these hands. So I found out. So that is one thing to note. But overall, this part's pretty nice. Nothing really else much to say about it. It's the top half of a Gundam. Now the bottom, or the leg flyer. Yeah, just not really much to say. It's just some folded up legs. Again, detail. I did panel line the bottom of the feet black, which actually turned out really well. I tend to use red now, or brown now on red pieces, so yeah, this is a very old kit of mine that I did. Well, let's see, it's January of 2020, and I think I built this around, early 2015, I guess. I don't remember when I built this one, but it's been a while, so yeah. And nub marks on mine, before anybody makes a mention, if you see them on there, yeah, I didn't do nub cleanup very well on this kit. I found out right before I shot. I was like, oh, hey, there's a couple nub marks I missed, but oh well, just... But yeah, again, nothing really much to say about this one. It's just legs folded up. I can't really say anything that makes that sound good. For base connection, you need to come in between the legs, and then we need to remove the piece in the center here. There we go. Just pulls out and drops on the floor. So that just comes out like that, and then yeah, it's this one, and then it replaces with this piece, which just sits in like so. And all of these connections are very strong. I don't have an action base that's not in use right now to demonstrate it, so, but all of these action-based connection points are really strong and sturdy, so you don't have to worry about your kit falling off or getting really wobbly once it's airborne. And again, there is a lot of options to posing this kit that we will look into here in a bit. So now that I went over all of those parts, I'm going to go ahead and put the Gundam together from here, and then we'll take a look at the silhouette flyer and the Force silhouette pack. So first thing we're going to do to transform the Gundam into its mobile suit mode is remove the landing gear from the core Splendor and remove the missiles. So set those off to the side, and then you're going to fold the nose cone down underneath the cockpit, take the wings, fold them back, and then slide them in, and then take the back wings here and slide them up. And then lastly, fold the cockpit down, and there we have the core Splendor ready. And then in the shell, it just kind of, it'll dock onto the top flyer first, which is just going to slide into this gap here on the back. The wings, these little winglets on the front, will actually go into grooves right through here. And then it'll just kind of rest in there right now. And then well, I'm going to remove the landing gear from the leg flyer, which to remove the landing gear, you just take these pieces off of the holes here in the knees, and then this piece will remove, and then you want to remove the blue part off of it, and then connect that in right there. So then the leg flyer will just connect in. These will fit along inside the winglets inside there, and then the four holes right here are going to go into around the 4 posts on that. Actually, I think it was, if I remember correctly, I did it wrong. It actually connects onto the core Splendor first, to the leg flyer, like so. And then it docks into the top flyer. So now we have the Gundam looking like this, and then all we need to do now from here is straighten out the legs. So straighten out the legs like so, and then on the shield, whoop, we are going out of camera here. So then the shield, we're going to need to take the post off of the arm here first, and then fold that around, and then lay that flat. And then these pieces here for the landing gear, you just take the gray piece off of the shield and then clip that on like so. So that you just get rid of the support struts, take them off, put them off to the side, and then you have the shield just regular. And now to get the arms into position here, you're going to want to fold them down, rotate them forward, push them in, and straighten it out for the left arm. And then the right arm, it's fold down, rotate forward, rotate this part forward and down, and then push that in. And then take this front piece here, and that will fold down and reveal the head. I'm going to go ahead and take the gun off so we can just take a look at the weaponless Impulse Gundam right now. Well, somewhat weaponless. We'll get into that in a little bit. So here it is, just standard Impulse Gundam. Now, it looks really nice. It looks standard lead mobile suit Gundam kind of fare, with the traditional red, blue, and yellow on white. But the white on this kit is actually a little bit more of an off-white, almost gray color. And then we can go ahead and take a look at a lot more of the details here. First up, take a look at the head. The head is very nicely molded and sculpted. You do have the French, or the Italian, I mean, designation on the front, if it will focus. Come on, focus. So yeah, I don't remember what that says, and it is really small. But yeah, there's some lettering there on the crest. The cameras, I went ahead and painted clear. They do give you stickers, but I did do clear blue on the forehead cameras and then clear green for the eyes, which it's kind of hard to come up right now, but if I were to pull out my LED, my flashlight here, you can kind of see it a little bit better, the green. And I actually painted silver behind the eyes and underneath the blue camera parts, and then painted the black using Gundam marker around the eyes to give it that look. And then moving down to the torso, again, and a lot of nice detailing. You do get a lot more line work going on in here now that we can see that. I did use some heavy black lines going through here to kind of show where the armor is separating, but it didn't come out quite as well as I hoped. The cockpit hatch, unfortunately, I feel like this is the biggest drawback of the kit. You get there's no real cockpit in there, but you can still open up the cockpit hatch. So I'm gonna try to, I wanted to try to use the beam saber to get it, but it's not gonna work, so I have to get it to a different way here. Come on. So yeah, there we go. So when all of that is said and done, and you can get the cockpit hatch opened up, but due to the nature of how this kit works, there is no cockpit inside. We just see this little square thingy. So unfortunately there's nothing really, there's no real purpose into opening the cockpit hatch on this kit. Also because of the way it combines, the cockpit's like way back in here. So we wouldn't be able to see the pilot. But that's one drawback. Take a look at the arms now. Very nice. I do like the shoulder pads on this kit a lot. Yeah, and some vents here. I do like the decals it gives you. That you can give it the option of being part of the Faith Special Forces. You can make this Shins, or you can make it Lunamarias. Again, I went with Shins. Going down to the waist now. This is where a lot of the panel lining comes into play on this kit, I feel like. And it looks really well. Looks really good like that. And the legs, again, pretty good panel lining spots. I did panel line black on the vents and it didn't turn out as well as I hoped, but oh well, it's there. So yeah, that's the Impulse Gundam as it is, just regular. Take a look side-by-side comparison with the RX-78-2, the original Gundam. Head height, it is a little bit like the same, I want to say, but it is, the proportions are a little bit different. The shoulders are higher up, the waist, the legs are longer, the waist is higher, the torso is shorter. But yeah, this is 1979 and this is 2004 mobile suit design. Both done by the same mobile suit designer, so. And then for the non-Gundam people, just do a side-by-side comparison with the MP10 Masterpiece Optimus Prime, and he comes up to about where the grill on his stomach ends. So standard 18 and a half meter tall Gundam, I think it is, actually. Yeah. Now to get onto the poseability. I didn't know if I wanted to do the poseability first or go over the silhouette flyer, but we'll do poseability. Head is on a ball joint and then a hinge at the base of the neck, so you can look up all the way, down quite a ways, tilt side to side, and rotate around. But the color does get in the way a little bit with the this little flap on the back of the head. Shoulders do 360-degree rotation. They kind of get to go outwards on a little butterfly joint due to the transformation. And the elbows have a double hinge 180-degree bend, which is very nice. Very, very nice. And then when you do bend up the elbow far enough, it does separate the armor here on the forearm. And then hands are on a ball joint wrist, which also has a hinge on the inside of the hand. Swivel back and forth. And then the fingers are on the standard, at the time, 3-1 and a thumb ball joints. So we have a ball joint at the thumb to do all sorts of poses, a ball joint that works better as a hinge on the index finger, and then 3 ball joints on these 3 fingers. Nothing in the torso for an ab crunch due to the way it transforms, but there is quite a good range in the waist. It can rotate side to side, as long as you don't mess up the core Splendor on the back. But yeah, it can rotate side to side. It can go up that far and down that far. So not a lot, but enough considering the way it does transform. It would make it a little bit more difficult to get into several poses with that. The legs, well, the skirt armor, the front skirt armor can go up that far. The side of skirt armor can go out that far, and the back skirt armor can go that far. And then the legs themselves can bend. The hinge is made to bend all the way out for the spread, but unfortunately with the way the joint is on the or with the skirt armor, that's as far out as it's gonna go. It could kick up forward that far, and it can go back this far. It's just a peg and polycap connection on the waist. And then also there is a thigh swivel. And then on the knee we do get, again, a double hinge. And then the armor will separate here and then throughout the kneecap when you bend it. Now, because of the way the transformation works, you do have to be careful and pay attention to the leg, because when you go to bend it straight back down after bending it, you can have this going on, which the actual way to have it is to line up the edge here on those armor plates and then straighten out the knee from there, which also decided to come apart a little bit. There we go. And then ankles, there's 2 ball joints, one at the top and one at the base of the ankle for a wide range. And then when you get the ankle armor out of there, you can see that there is pistons that will work. And then also the foot has, as you can see, a hinge at the toe to bend all the way down or that far up. So not much in the foot, but enough. So yeah, Poseability is pretty much as you would expect from a Master Grade Gundam figure. This thing was released in 2009 or 2008, I mean. So there's not leaps and bounds great that it can do, but it can do just enough to get by with what needs to be done. Now onto the accessories for just the Impulse Gundam to start with. We're going to go by the original, or the regular beam rifle. The BAR-72 beam rifle, which is his standard armament. Pretty standard fare beam rifle, just a couple pieces clipped together. The secondary handle does slide up and down and rotate off to the side, and then the scope can rotate side to side. And then there is a connection here for the hand, which just going to take the hand and pose it and clip that in, and then form the hand around the gun like so. And it holds it. It doesn't hold it well, but it does hold it. If you do bump it accidentally, you're going to knock it out of that peg or the slot, but it does hold it fairly well, and the kit itself is fairly solid too. So, and then the other accessory here, before I forget, is in the side skirt armor here. It is a couple of anti-armor knives, which just store away and then will fold out like so, and then they just fit into the hands. There's no peg hole, so you just wrap the fingers around and then it holds it. So it holds it pretty decently. Not the best accessory. I do have a tendency to forget these are even in there, so and then to store them away, you just open up the skirt armor, put it in. I just dropped it on the floor. There it is. Okay, so that one is stuck in the side like that. So that's not helpful. Alright. But it does tell me how it's going in, so I can put the other one in. So yeah, it just fits in like that in the grooves, and then you just fold it back up and close it in. So, alright. Next up, we're going to take a look at the shield. Just in its basic form right now. Just a shield, just a plate with the traditional Gundam cross on it. Does say Zaft 05, a bunch of other decals going around it. Just standard issue shield. Open up. I like to open up the hand and then take the handle and then slide that in between the fingers, or slide the fingers in between the handle, and then take the post and then plug that into the arm like so. The connection onto the arm is good enough to where you don't need it in the hand, but I do like putting it in the hand just for sake of display. So that's pretty much the standard fare of accessories for this Gundam. Nothing really too much to say about it, and I did want to point out also that the beam rifle, when I can get it out of his hand, does have a plug on the back, on the side here, that will plug into the skirt armor on the back. Like so. So there's that. Now, one last piece of accessory that comes with this kit before we go into the core Splendor is the extra backpack piece. Now, this is to connect to the IWSP pack or the Ale Striker pack from the Strike Gundam, and I just dropped it on the floor. As you can see, this part does come straight blue. I did paint the framework gray with a Gundam marker, and then there's this piece here which is just white. And to attach that on, we're going to take both the core Splendor and the top half of the Gundam out, and then there is a hole right there in the back of the Gundam that peg is going to plug into. Just like that. And then connect it onto there. So that's how that looks like with that on. I personally don't like it because it gets rid of the pilot altogether. There's no pilot figure in it at all. And I don't have a spare IWSP pack to put this with, and also I like the Impulse Gundam as it is, and I just took that apart instead of pulling it out. So there's that. I'm gonna go ahead and plug this back on, remove the beam rifle. Alright, now finally we could go ahead and take a look at the Silhouette Flyer. Now the Silhouette Flyer, again, just like with the Force Silhouette pack, does have quite a lot going for it. Just it's very busy. It's got a lot going. It's got a lot it's doing. I don't like the Silhouette Flyer on its own. The build was very plain. These wings are mostly white, as you can see here. I had to paint them. They're all black, so I had to paint white on black, which is a nightmare. And then, yeah, just go ahead to remove it. You just pull it off and then slide this piece in and then rotate the thruster down. And that's it. That's all the core Splendor has. Or not the core Splendor, but the Silhouette Flyer. There's nothing really interesting about this piece at all. The only other thing it can do is you could take the last of the 4 specialized action-based posts and plug it in right there, so you can have it flying. And then you can take the landing gear off too. But other than that, this thing's kind of just boring, and I don't like it. But this part I do like, the Silhouette Flyer's Force Silhouette pack. As you can see, one of the ball joints here is a little loose, but this will allow the Impulse Gundam to fly in atmosphere or atmospheric combat. So it's an atmospheric flight pack. It doesn't really have any weapons on its own to speak of. It does have 2 really big thrusters here and then a bunch of other small thruster vanes throughout. The wings are articulated in a couple spots. There's a double joint here and a double joint here, so you can fold them up, get them going any which way, and then these ones can also rotate side to side. So yeah, if you want to, you can also collapse them all the way down for storage as well. But in order to get them to the way the gun and connect into the Gundam, also, for some reason this side likes to keep falling off. I don't like that. Splay out the main wings like so. Take these pieces and they're actually connected here and then the ball joint in here. But we want to move this piece down, as far down as it will go, and then rotate this piece back. And then kind of just splay them out. For aesthetic purposes, pose them however you want. And then take these pieces, fold them up, and push them in. Like so. And there we have the Force Silhouette pack ready to connect onto the Gundam here. Now there is 2 posts right here that are going to correspond with 2 holes on the back of the Gundam, and it's going to completely envelope the Silhouette flyer, or the core Splendor on the back. So there's that, and then at this point in the show, the shield deploys out and opens up to cover a wider range. That's the only time he ever uses the shield like that, is when it's connected onto the is when the Force Silhouette pack is connected on. Now, as you can see, it does add quite a good wingspan and quite a lot going on towards the back. But it does actually balance really well. The Silhouette flyer barely weighs anything. So the Gundam itself, all of the weight is in the front, and he can hold a regular pose just standing like this. Now, to bring out the accessories for the Force Silhouette pack, we have the 2 beam sabers here. You can remove one or both of them, like so. And then we get, as you saw with me trying to mess with them earlier, 2 curved beam saber blades in a photofluorescent pink with, I don't know how well you can see that, but there is actually glitter injected into the plastic during the molding process. So just like that, you can plug the beam blade into the beam saber, and then plug the beam saber into the hand with the traditional 3-1 and a thumbs rectangle post. So that's what that looks like holding the beam saber. Pretty nice. I do like the beam sabers. It's not my personal option to use for this kit. I just like him having the beam sabers on the back and have him holding his beam rifle when he's on display here. And that actually fits on really tightly. I'm having a hard time getting that off right now. Which we'll just go ahead and segue into the next set of weapons or accessories. Now we also get 2 of these hands, which are fixed pose except for a joint right here for both left and right. And then just like how you would on an HG kit, high grade, you just take the hands apart and then fit weapons in there. Now these are for one specific weapon here. We get the Excalibur Sword, or one of the Excalibur Swords. This is an exclusive with the Sword Silhouette pack. But in the show, we see Shin going up against Kira Yamato in the Freedom Gundam, and he's using one of the Excaliburs to deliver the final blow. So in order to accomplish that, we need to attach the hand into or around the Excalibur handle like that. There's no other way the Gundam can hold on to the Excalibur Sword. As you can see, the connection into the hand is very tight, but the ball joint as the wrist is a little loose. And now we also get beam effect parts to go with it. We get the long beam effect part, which has a post right here and then posts along the length of it, and the post will just clip in there And then just go on like so. And that's how the beam blade on the Excalibur looks in the show to begin with. And just like the beam saber, the regular beam sabers, they are the same photofluorescent pink with glitter injected into the mold. Yeah, so most of the time whenever we see the Excalibur sword, it looks like this. However, they do give you an extra piece, which is this one right here, which just fits over the edge. I can never remember which way this is supposed to go. Okay, I had it right the first time. But it goes over the tip of the sword, kind of like a full power mode for the Excalibur. So the beam is rushing up here, and then it powers up way past its limiter point and comes over the beam blade, or comes over the blade edge to form this really nasty sword. So, yeah, I do like that a lot. Now, unfortunately, well, there is also another piece I forgot to mention, is this piece, which is just a stand for the Force Silhouette pack. And then there's this action base connector, which works just like the other one that we used before. For the leg flyer when it was in flight mode. It's just this piece. There we go. So yeah, it's just this piece over again. So it's got the same strength of connection. But yeah, overall, I do really love this kit. It's one of my favorites still to this date. Very fun to play around with, very fun to pose. Overall, just looks spectacular, looks exactly like how the line art is meant to, or yeah, it looks exactly like the line art. The decals are very nice. You do get several options between Shin or Lunamaria, which also you do get pilot figures of, I forgot to mention. So Shin right here and Lunamaria Hawk right there. And yeah, just overall very nice. I do highly recommend picking this one up if you don't have it already. There is also the Sword Impulse Gundam, the Destiny Impulse Gundam, and the Destiny Blanche Impulse Gundam that were released somewhat in between now, well, in between the time when this was released and now. And now also we finally do have a P Bandai exclusive version of the Blast Impulse Gundam. So we have all three forms of the Impulse that we see in the show, as well as a couple different ones that we see in other forms of media. So you do have your options to pick them up. Unfortunately, the only two that are regular retail release are the Sword Impulse and the Force Impulse. But other than that, I do really like this kit. I'm eventually going to get my review done of the Sword Impulse Gundam, and also I'm going to eventually pick up the Blast Impulse Gundam whenever I can. But as of right now, I do highly recommend this kit. It's very fun, very nice looking when it's all said and done. The decals are great. I would honestly say that this is probably the best kit out of Mobile Suit Gundam Seed Destiny. In my opinion, just because I really do like this suit a lot, and I'm rambling on a 40-minute video. So I'll get it all ended up here. So I hope you guys like this video review. I know it did go quite a long time, but there is a lot to cover with this kit, I felt like. So I wanted to make sure everything got covered in enough depth and detail, so that way it was very accurate to what needed to be said. If I forgot anything, you can always let me know. again, one of my favorite kits I've built. Not my favorite. There's still plenty more to go from here. But this is one of the favorites that I've done. And I can't recommend it enough. It was a very fun build. Very, very nice final product. And then the panel lining and decals just bring it out a lot more. So, yeah, if you want this kit, I do highly recommend picking it up. And this is Ratchet Reviews. I hope you guys like this video review, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.